Welcome to an extra episode of GAMERViCE. I'm here with Hank and our friend, our guest, Brett. Welcome on to the show. Before we continue, because this episode is strictly about Diablo 4 and the first week that we've had with the game so far, Brett, as a guest of the show, you have to come onto the show and we have to ask you a question. A question for the gamer in you, and that is, what game can you think of right now that has the best story ever?
Okay, first though, let me just say, in the beginning when you said welcome to a extra, I thought you were going to say special podcast because of the guests, but you just breezed past special and just went right to extra podcast. So yeah. I just want to point that out. Okay. So I mean, listen, man, I don't know how I narrowed that down, right? Because I liked every Assassin's Creed. I liked Elden Ring. I love Skyrim. Every Fallout game is good. Games like Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, a lesser known game, but sensational storyline. Both God of Wars. I think that's the first one better, to be fair. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. I think the game, honestly, that pulled me in really hard into story-driven games was probably Oblivion. Elder Scrolls Oblivion. That was my first intro. Yeah, man. I put like 800 hours into Oblivion. I was genuinely
that's like, not too much. No.
Pumped about it. Genuinely pumped about it. Yeah, I loved it. So.
All right. I like that. So an Elder Scrolls game, I can dig it.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Besides, it does great stories.
So
everything else is subpar, but they do great stories.
Well, with that being said, hopefully what we can all agree on is that Diablo 4 does not have everything else subpar. Diablo 4 being released about a week ago, as of the time of this recording, we were able to have money enough to buy the deluxe edition. Some buy the ultimate, Steel Series X box set. Hank, but
chill, man. We got early access. We paid a couple bucks for the early access. We're not going to talk about any of that extra stuff yet. So getting into the game,
yes, sir.
The first question we are going to present ourselves with here is our overall first impressions of Diablo 4. And because we have such a special guest today, we're going to let our special guest go first. Brett, first impressions.
Okay, let me preface this though, okay, because I feel like I have to say this. Okay, I didn't love Diablo 2. Okay, I didn't love Diablo 2. Oh, we can't take you seriously, dude. Stick it in your ear. I didn't like it. I didn't play it when it first came out. Okay, I played it 20 years later on the what's it called when they redid it. Okay, and for me it was just a little linear. Yes, thank you. It was just a little linear. Didn't have the customization. My introduction into Diablo was Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls on console because I was not on PC until 2016. So Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls is my baseline for, and I love Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls, man. I was Paragon like just over 400 because I had a monk, I had a demon hunter, I had a barb, I had a sorcerer, and I had a necro. All max level 100 Paragon. Loved every second of it. So I've been dying for Diablo 4. And I got to tell you, man, Diablo 4 is scratching every itch that I've tried to scratch with PoE, that I tried to scratch with like Van Helsing, any Diablo like knockoff. I have been trying to scratch the Diablo 4 itch, and it's here. I love it. I love every second of it. I don't really care about the story. I hear it's better than 3. I didn't pay attention to 3 either. I was just happy killing and looting. Yeah. But I am digging Diablo 4 hard. Loving every second of it. Can't get enough.
All right. That's good. Good first impression, Diablo. All right. Had to give a little knock on the OG Diablo 2. Some Diablo fans out there will not agree with that one.
I know.
But hey, that's the beauty of gaming. We all have our own opinions. It don't matter. He don't like it. So
I'm probably wrong. That's fine. I'm probably wrong. I just didn't.
You can't
well, because
be wrong.
I played it.
It's your opinion. Right.
But I played it 20 years later. Maybe if I played it the day it came out, right? I'd be like, oh, this is fire.
Or if you played it, put it that way, that's fair because it was like a remaster. If you played Diablo 2 at the time it came out, like that game,
I would have loved it.
like it might have been more for that time.
Yes.
But the way the features, because they didn't really add anything, they were giving it to the OG fans. They did it is missing a lot of features you get in games, and it feels a little more bare
Yes.
to someone who's been playing a lot of different things. Kevin, your first impressions.
My first impressions of Diablo 4. I think at first, I'm not going to lie, I was a little worried because they had just released Diablo Immortal, which was their mobile game, and it felt very. I don't know if it was.
Say it.
I don't know if it was pay to win, but it felt,
just say it.
You mean they dropped a mobile game? It felt like a mobile game, and it was
pay to win. It felt like crap.
Okay.
Yeah,
like a money grab.
It wasn't pay to win. It was a money
grab.
grab. Yeah, with their microtransactions and like you had to buy gems
in
order
to pay to win. In this sense, it's not pay to win. Like
it's not pay to
you got to pay to win to get the power. It's pay to power, whatever the heck you want to call it.
Yeah,
it's pay to power.
It's pay to play. It's pay to enjoy your experience with the game, and so more or just in general because they did it to the point where you couldn't even play like the end game stuff. You had to. If I remember correctly, because I stopped as soon as I heard all this bullshit, you had to buy gems in order to like unlock the end game dungeons or whatever portals or whatever it was. And if you didn't buy them, the only way you can get them was like once a week.
Okay.
It was like the dumbest. It was like the dumbest thing in order for you to just make you spend money. Yeah.
Oh,
you know what? Forget that. Diablo 4. I don't want to lose sight of what we're talking about here.
I got you.
First,
Get
to the point, Kevin.
Diablo 4, I was worried because at first it made me feel a little bit like Diablo Immortal. But as we started playing together, I was like, okay, this feels really good. The skill systems feel really good. The progression feels really good. Playing with a group of friends is something I've been missing in an RPG like this for a long time. I feel like Borderlands maybe, but Borderlands obviously is a completely different like genre. But the group friend aspect of it, and Destiny 2 maybe, but yes, Diablo 4 for sure. Once you start going, like the ball's rolling, and it just feels good. It's just a good game all along.
What level are you, Kevin? Just so we can get some baselines of how much time you played. Because I'm level 41.
I am level 36.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Hank.
All right. Since I'm driving this conversation, if I had to ask myself first impressions, I'm sure we all know how this has been going. And for those of you who don't know, I've been fanboying over this Diablo game for a while. Also, because there hasn't really been much for me to play. And I know the only thing I've been playing, which my boy Brett here loves it, is Valorant. So, okay. By his reaction, if you guys don't know, he hates that game. Anyways, Diablo 4. I've been watching so many videos, played all 3 beta weekends that were out. I was really excited to play. It felt good. Then I would see some things. I'm like, oh, they got to fix this and that. I feel like they did a really good job of actually using the word beta and beta for what it actually was. Like, I can give them the respect in that sense because first impressions wise, really good. I'm loving the way it feels, and I can't wait to play more. I'm trying to finish this recording so I can go play right now. That's how good it is. So, but
did you play the Server Slam weekend too?
I did. So
did you get the road boss?
I did, and I can't wait to use my mount. But we haven't unlocked the mount because I'm taking my damn time, and I'm over here not even. I should have based on how you played the campaign. I should have based on my level. I should have already finished the story.
Yeah, you should be done.
And you're right there with me. But yeah. They used the beta weekend. I think that's what like the beta weekends and beta like to actually do this. We've seen so many games struggle with early access or multiplayer games that are, with the servers and everyone getting on a global launch time, whatever it is. Error. Aside from the PlayStation homies, okay. And I don't know what exactly the situation happens there with licensing and this, and if the game was bought, I do feel for them. But PC and Xbox, talk about smooth as hell for what we've experienced, getting in the game.
And I logged on at 7 today just to see.
For the first minute, though, at like 7:01, for the three boys here, there was a moment of doubt. We were like, oh, hell no, what the hell? This shit ain't clicking open. Why'd I get kicked out of the queue? It was like about 4 or 5 minute queue time. Then we was good. We was cruising.
That's our fault, though. We tried to bypass the launcher.
But
yeah, we did.
First impressions, I think we hit the green marker on all three of us. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, looking good. Diablo 4.
And it was good today too, Crunky. Real quick, it was good today. I got on at 7 today when I released to the general public.
Oh, so at the time
No
of recording,
hitch.
we are playing. Yeah, at the time of this recording, it is actual launch day, and the time was about an hour ago when global launch for everybody went live. So I can't wait to see even more people talking about the game and playing. But without further ado, then, what is your favorite thing about Diablo 4, Brett?
I like the skill tree, and from what I've seen so far of the Paragon boards, I think that's awesome. I'm a loot whore. It doesn't matter. I don't care what game it is. If there's loot, I'm all over it. Right? Diablo combat is Diablo combat. It just gets better and better. It looks good. It feels good. It's tasty. I love every second of it. But the way that they've done the new skill progression and the enormity of the Paragon boards, can't wait. Can't wait.
KD, favorite thing?
My favorite thing has got to be the loot. I think the loot is amazing, and I think it's only gonna get better. If anything, like Diablo,
surface with the loot yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We haven't even really scratched the surface. If Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 are anything to go by the time we get to endgame, the loot and like the stat attributes and all the random, the random stats that you can get to make a build is going to be so insane that we're going to be grinding endgame for Paragon and for loot for days and days and days and days to come. And it's not even going to... The great thing about it is, for some reason, Diablo has a good way of making loot and finding loot and that loot grind feel good. Yeah.
Agreed.
One of the OGs.
Yeah, they're the best to do it, I think.
Like my favorite thing
and Borderlands.
I was gonna say my favorite thing, because especially Diablo 2, I would say, felt like, okay, once you kind of get your gear and this is like, and you could use and switch up a lot of skill usage, but it just felt like, you're kind of spamming 2 or 3 things and you're just spamming. It felt kind of mindless at times when you can get good at Diablo 2. Diablo 3, same thing, where like it's good. It was like more fast paced, and they introduced the cooldowns and more skills all at once or whatever. But then they brought like that light inside of Diablo, and it lost its like art a little bit, but it was still very like, it just felt like spammy, like whatever. And it doesn't matter, I guess, in the beginning, like the beginning of Diablo 3, I guess, and when you start a season now, when you do, it's just like, you go and you're just killing, and it's like you pick up items, and it's like your damage level, your power level of the item, and you just start killing stuff. It's just easy. Like, there's like my favorite thing, so what it comes down to is the combat right now. It actually feels like I'm trying to beat the monsters like a certain way, and I'm not just like spam click. Like, yeah, I'm spamming my abilities, but like there's a rhyme and reason to how I'm clicking, and the combat feels so good to me personally how to start. And like the difficulty, and this is for someone now, like, we know there's those hardcore guys, those streamers out there, they're already hitting 100. I watch them and it's funny, but I'm like, yeah, it's like, what the heck? It's like, but realistically, for like a regular, now I wouldn't even say casual, for a casual that actually has no experience with Diablo, it's gonna feel real hard. For someone even like me or us, like who's played a decent amount of Diablo, like I'm saying, but I'm not an expert and I haven't been like a diehard into like how to get crazy min-max with Diablo. Like, it is still a really like good challenge feeling, like where it's not too hard, where I feel like I want to throw my controller Elden Ring style, Souls-like, but it's also not too easy where I'm just sitting back like blip, 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 clicking and killing everything.
Bro, so, Woody Joe taking on the final boss today. He was level 1. He hit level 100 hardcore. And he went on to take on the final boss, and he was going through.
I think he TP'd out, right? Yeah.
He did TP out, but he wasn't about to die. He still had like three vials left, but he beat the
first. That's what happens when you're hardcore. You can't play around.
No. He beat first phase, and I'm telling you, you could just see that it wasn't just a matter of like, beep, 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 It was like,
Yeah.
this is what I had to do. I had
Very
to hit the person.
technical.
Super technical. Love
The
that
Diablo
about it.
2 bosses were terrible. I will say that. It's like there was no like. I like how it's like, you know, the globes dropping. Obviously, they kind of had that in Diablo 3. I'm pretty sure, like with the ticks, but it's a lot more. Something happens after a tick, and you can like move. You actually have to maneuver the battlefield. It's not just straightforward. You sit on the boss, and if you have tank to you or you got potions, you just spam them, and you just keep hitting your. Like you actually move and move around to avoid attacks, which I like. That's what I mean by the combat. It's really good. Yeah, I don't know. They've done a good job, and I guess see that hardcore level aspect at the top. We're talking about these beasts. There is a point right now where there is still like that uber boss. I don't even want to spoil it for myself, but I had like heard something. They're not just walking in there, even though they went and got to 100. So it's like funny seeing them struggle. So it's gonna be.
Dude, then we got Hell's Caves. The end game is so deep. The end game
oh my
is
god,
so
we
deep.
haven't even gotten to the
So
end game with
deep.
us.
Oh.
Now moving on to the not so good stuff, real quick. What is your least favorite thing about Diablo 4? Or would you dislike? It could be least favorite, dislike.
So my least favorite thing about Diablo 4, I got you on this one, Kevin. Yeah. Maybe you'll agree with me on this because you and I think similarly in this.
Hopefully, don't.
No. Mine's definitely you and I don't. You and I, we may agree on this, but this is not yours. I promise, because I'm just a doofus. I hate that I cannot stop myself for 5 seconds to read what the piece of armor does. To think that might help me. Right? Like, I'm just like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna go fight something. I'm gonna go kill something right now. Well, there's an event over here. I gotta go. What is this? Oh, it's pants? Yeah, okay, put them on. No clue what I'm doing. And if I just was able to take a second, right, of not enjoying myself in combat to actually like, I mean, I'm only 41, right? So everything I'm finding now, I'm gonna trash in 15 minutes. And that's fine. But you still have this sense of like, oh, I kind of have a little build going at 41 and I'm kind of doing shadow and I'm doing it. So maybe this will help me, but I just can't stop. Like you said, Crunky, the combat is so much fun. The loot is so, Kevin, like you said, the loot is so engaging. Yeah. I want to level up and see what the next little like power up is. I can't take 5 seconds to read the friggin' descriptions.
I think that's my word. I will say, no, I hear you, but then when you watch these guys who are hurt, they know exactly what they're looking like. They click it.
They're so fast.
It's so fast. It's just like a thing. I just think that comes with like time and knowing what you're looking for. But I hear you. Like that could be frustrating.
That's it. That's all it is. I just want more time for my tiny brain to figure stuff out.
I think my least favorite thing is a gripe I have with their like UI management. Like, the mini map, not knowing where your party members are. That's kind of annoying. Like they're actually not on the same map. They've been in a dungeon, but you can't tell because for some reason their dots are still on your map. That's annoying. And then also quest management. Quest management is really bad, especially when you're in a party. Ooh. Like, I don't know what quest you guys are doing. It doesn't sync up at all.
Yeah.
It just should do that, especially if you're the leader. Whatever the leader is doing, especially because we have to be in the leader's world. That should be what we're syncing to as far as quests are concerned.
100%. Let me change my answer to yours. I changed my answer. My answer is Kevin's answer, and my answer is not Kevin's answer.
And that's okay.
No. He gets to come up with something new. I'm the guest. I get to do whatever I want. Kevin, think of something else. I want that as my answer because that's super correct. That's super right.
Oh man,
super correct.
Good. Hank.
So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna like kind of build on that. I agree with the mission thing. I don't like how it can't. I mean, I guess you get over this once you are in the end game, then it doesn't matter. But like that first part, especially us experiencing the game off the jump.
So only the first 50
having
hours
the same progression is like a big deal where we,
So only the first 50 hours we have to deal with it.
It's only a problem for the first 9 days.
Exactly. I do think it's a little less than that, but like exactly like a good first chunk of the game and your hours is spent doing the campaign, and sometimes maybe your boy wants to go play. Like our schedules don't sync up. They might play 2-3 more hours than you. I don't want that to be the case, and it's like, oh shoot, like managing what quest I did and didn't do, which one is tied to my world. Like they had to find a better way of doing that. But I guess the biggest problem, and I saw like my thing with the quest, they don't gray them out and you can't see quest completed. It just disappears. And if you really thought about it, you would know, like, yo, what question you want? You would at least see which ones you've done. They don't track every quest you've completed underneath
True.
grayed out like a lot of games do.
True.
You know what I mean? Where it's like you've completed the quest and now it's just out down on the bottom, and then at least you can hover it over it to see that you did it or whatever.
That's why I
It
couldn't find where you
disappears.
were in the story. I was like, you're like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is where
So
I
you're
am.
like,
I
I have
no
to
idea.
read which one are you. That's what I'm saying. That would
Yep.
be easier to track.
100%.
And then the other big one, speaking of loot, how many times I know me and Irish would just play yesterday. Ah, shit, I got to run back to town. Like, and then I got to figure out if I want to salvage or not in this because he was full. You know, the other problem with getting full, the gems. Make a separate pouch for the gems.
Yep.
Yes,
So we could
please.
just have actual loot in the loot part of our inventory. They just got to
And-
make a separate gem pouch.
Just a quality of life thing. When you're in a town that has your
yeah.
stash, let me use my gems that are in my stash at all the vendors without having to go to the stash to find the specific gem that I want. To go, just let it's in my stash, which means I can use it in town, and let me just
Yeah.
keep my gems there.
That's more just of like
It's a quality of life.
Like, yeah,
simple
it
thing.
is quite. It would just make it easier. Like, why are you making us run over there?
I kind of want to just touch on this real quick because you said it. You said this as one of your favorite things, and I actually am going to disagree with you and probably put it as one of my less favorite
Who?
things. I don't think it's least Hank here
Oh, what
about
I said,
the
combat.
about the bosses. I don't think that they're actually that intuitive. Like if you've
Okay.
had bosses, like if you've played like Destiny or something, there's like I understand that it's a completely different genre. I understand that, but like the boss fights are, you know, those two guys are going over there and they're trying to figure this out so that way it makes the boss vulnerable so that way you can start hitting the boss or whatever. Like the boss fights here are very, very basic. It's just like you're either hitting them or they have a couple of enemies that you have to kill first so that you can hit them. It's like it feels very
That changes,
basic.
Kevin. That
Does
changes
it?
with yeah. As we
No,
progress through,
there's
the bosses get
certain
more
ones,
complicated.
and honestly, we haven't seen it. I will say I know what he means, and I guess my thing though too is Diablo is also very known for the boss fights being absolute garbage. Like the fights, like, it's just a lot of spam fighting, and
Yeah.
even when you get to a boss. So I just feel like it's an added mechanic. It's one of my. I like the combat is my favorite. I don't know about you. I'm just saying they've definitely improved boss
Yeah,
fights though
they've
from the
improved it, yeah.
past. But exactly, like to say your point, because of it's the overhead, dungeon crawler type version. I don't think
Yeah.
you're gonna get that same.
But the Destiny raid
type
bosses-
feel.
yeah, the raid
Like-
bosses in Destiny are a different level. That whole Destiny is another genre, another game
I
that
got
He
it.
just
knows it's another genre.
so
Listen.
good. No, not genre. It's just another example of a sensational story, incredible gameplay. Like it's, but they're I think you can
But
like
yeah,
them.
I
more
can't.
than-
There's and as far there's games that have 100 times better boss fights that the games are built around that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they've
Fine.
improved upon that. But my favorite, I just like the combat and the use of skills. The skill tree, like it's really good. I can't wait to see how you can build stuff
In the future.
And we're gonna end it by talking about what we look forward to. What updates do we want them to make to the game? And I guess maybe stuff we want to see in season 1 while we close this out here, Brett.
Yeah, so I was never a big seasons guy. I got very attached to my character. I like to build my character up
Okay.
to max him out. I was never like a pump and dump kind of guy that I know Diablo's known for, and that's cool. I know seasons are very popular with people, and I know everyone's excited for seasons. But honestly, I'm genuinely looking forward to exploring other classes and getting a little army of maxed out guys that have my build that I like, that I'm comfortable with, and just seeing the end game and going like that.
All right, Kevin.
I am looking forward to it, and I don't even know that this is something that's like in the works, but the new classes that eventually will come out. Like we're talking about in the future, we're talking about like obviously we're talking probably like 4, 6, 8, 10 months into the future, like DLC type stuff. But I would really like a paladin and or monk class.
Monk.
Yeah, they gotta bring one of them back, right?
You know,
Mhm.
You would hope so.
so that's what I'm looking forward to. Not to say, obviously, to Brett's point, I want to go through the classes that they have now. I heard in the newest patch they actually buffed the necromancer. I heard, so that's interesting too. So and necromancer's probably behind rogue, necromancer. It goes for me. I'm right now. I have a sorceress, rogue, necro, druid, barb. That's how I want to
Play them.
create characters. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to seasons. As far as updates, I like how, I mean, these guys are doing the good job right now balancing. It's funny, we got all these hardcore people and they kind of break the game, but actually I was talking about this, how it's like, okay, the company has people, and then I see people always writing this. It's like, oh, like, do you not test your own games? I don't know the number of actual testers you have. I don't know if it's 200 or 1,000 within your development process of actually being able to test your game and seeing things. You know, the minute you put out these beta and like the betas, and now these guys that had the review copy, and now the guys that hit 100 so fast before the game even hit regular launch, like it's funny seeing them, and they are doing things, and then people want to actually get bent out of shape, but it's like, yo, finally you put the game's hands in millions. Like, yes, you're not necessarily their tester, but like you're figuring shit out. Like it's a game that has to do about balance of power kind of deal,
Yeah.
and it's like they were not gonna get that right just by plugging their numbers in and having their small community in house of actually balancing the game. Now it's getting out there, and there's some stuff. It's like, yes, I don't know how fun you consider it, and at least they're getting able to do it. Or people like us is like, oh, the whirlwind bar. Like, yeah, we don't play it enough to get to it by the time they've nerfed. They are nerfing stuff quick. But like that's stuff that I do think is already even kind of like broken in a sense. Like they're not I don't think they've nerfed anything that's like, oh, that's just really good. Like the barb thing, the whirlwind, that item, it was nerfing the item, and that wasn't even actually nerfing the barb. It was like
Right.
nerfing the an affix on a unique that was broke. Like, yeah, like that. You just out here wiping the floor, like, and also it's like that's got to get boring at some point. Like,
Well, the public is
so-
savage, dude. Look at Zelda.
Yeah, no,
I've been playing
that-
Zelda 2 days in. Everyone's like, got a dupe glitch.
but I'm just
Billion of
looking,
everything.
yeah, I'm just looking forward to as they keep balancing it to make it a cleaner game, and I'm looking forward to season 1. But I'm also not looking forward to season 1. They could take it because it's like I want to get through this player before I feel like I'm gonna have to make a new one, like you said, and dump them, like which I don't have to. But then it's like you drop seasons. It's like one of those prisons.
I'll do
in your mind
the
where it's like-
season content.
It's
with
like
you.
one of
I'll
those
do that.
prisons where it's like they drop something. It's like, yeah, you can keep playing the Eternal Run, but you know everything new is in season, and
Yeah.
it's like the challenge is like, how am I not going to play
That's
that?
true.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like they hold you hostage.
They
But
do.
yeah,
Bastards.
Diablo 4, man. If we had to give you a thumbs up or thumbs down, you're getting a thumbs up from me, Kevin. Thumbs
Oh.
up. Brett's got 2 thumbs up. Yeah, we all got them. Let's go. Blizzard Diablo, you're doing a great job. Just make sure you guys are doing the right thing in the workplace, okay?
Whoa.
Yeah, come on.
But-
what?
But no, in all honesty, I really enjoyed Diablo. I think these two are enjoying it. We can't wait to go play some more. But if you guys get your hands on the game, let us know your feelings about all these Diablo questions we brought up today. And big shout out to our special, most wonderful guest. You too, Gabe. I know you did an episode with us. You're special and wonderful too. But Brett, thank you for joining us today. All right.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys. This was a blast.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Well, GAMERViCE, catch you in the next one. See you guys. Peace.